Hey there, Eric here. So today I'll be focusing on the topic of leadership in high school and giving you guys some of my tips and tricks on how to land a leadership position in order to boost your college application. So first off, here are some common activities. And what I would recommend to focus on is school clubs because there are so many of them. And also, each of these school clubs will probably have 4 to 5 leadership positions. Next, the leadership hierarchy is important. So something to note is that you don't want to be the co-founder or founder of all of your activities. It's fine to have one or two, but if you have all of them where you're the co-founder, that might just seem a bit sketchy to colleges. And I would recommend trying to get president or co-president of a club, although vice president is equally as impressive. For the third level, where you're the head of social media or head of HR, I feel like these roles are good if you actually do a job, but a lot of the times there are kind of BS positions given out to friends, and I feel like colleges probably know that, so that's something to watch out for. And for the fourth level, these are generally entry-level officer positions, and they're just kind of a stepping stone for you to become a co-president in the future. So for example, a common progression would be to join a club in freshman year, and then in sophomore year become treasurer, and then the next year maybe still be treasurer, but then by the time you're a senior, you're promoted to co-president. So here are some factors that determine leadership. The first one is very important because if you join a club that has 100 people, most likely you're not going to become a leader. But if you join a club that has 10 people, you have a much, much better chance of becoming a leader in that club. And the second factor is grade level of those in power. So what I mean by this is that, if all of the leaders are in your grade, you're not going to get promoted. Like very, very low chance, just because they might view you as an outsider or they might view you as a competitor in the scheme of college applications. But if all the leadership is graduating this year, then they're going to be gone next year, and you have a much better chance of getting leadership. So for the third factor, the promotion system is important because, generally the promotion system will either be through voting, where it's kind of random and it might be more based on popularity rather than hard work. But sometimes the leadership will choose people to replace them, and that's where relationships come in. So there are 2 types of relationships that are very important to getting leadership. The first type is your relationship with the current leaders. And that's because these current leaders will generally choose people to replace them. And if you're always talking to them, forming good friendships with them, they'll view you as a very viable candidate. And the second type of relationship that you want to look out for is how well you know the teacher advisor of the club. And that's because the teacher advisor is the person who backs the club and the person whose room you're in during lunch for these club meetings. So you want to get to know the teacher advisor well because they can definitely put in a good word for you when the time to choose leaders comes around. So next, here are some examples of easy to get leadership. The first example is, let's say, your classmate in math class wants to start a Lego club and they know you're also into Legos. So in order to get you on board, they offer you an officer position. So this is a very easy way to get leadership. The second example is a very small club in which all of the leadership is graduating either this year or next year, and just, by default, you become a leader because everyone else has graduated. Now, the third example is very interesting because seemingly this organization has a lot of members, so you might think initially that it's very hard to get leadership. But the fact is, only a small percentage of the club has members actively participating. And generally, you don't want to worry about the people who are not actively participating, because only the people who are actively participating are those that you are competing against in order to get leadership. Now, for the fourth example, this is an organization that is very large, but only 5 people are in your grade. So let's say like 100 people are in the club, and only 5 are in your grade. So why is that important? Now that's important because generally leadership promotion is kind of based on grade level. So that means that, if you're a 10th grader and there's only 4 other 10th graders in your club and everyone else is in the other grades, that means that by the time you guys are being considered for leadership, you only have to compete against 4 other people. Now here are some examples of hard to get leadership. So the first example is, the classic sports team or music group where they, might rely on your times, for example, in track and field, or, how good you are at playing the violin in order to determine who becomes captain or concertmaster. Now for the second example, this is a relatively medium-sized club, but it has a lot of people vying for leadership. And, if there's a club that's 50 members and 25 people are vying for leadership, you don't really have that good of a chance because, there's only 5 open leadership positions, which means you have a 20% chance just going by the stats. Now for the third example, this is a club where, so this is a situation where you are oblivious to what is happening and you don't know the promotion system. So maybe the promotion system in this club is we only promote people that we know personally to become a leader, or we only promote people who know the teacher advisor really well. And the fact is, if you aren't in the know, or if you don't know how the promotion system works, you probably won't become a leader. So that's something to watch out for. Now the fourth example is basically where it's a club that was probably started with people in your grade, but the fact is in the initial officer seeking stage, they didn't go to you. And that just means that, all the leadership in the club is in your grade level. And the fact is they're not going to promote you. Like, very, very unlikely. So what can you do in order to avoid all of this, rank climbing or ladder climbing, however you want to put it, in these existing organizations? So what you can do is you can start your own club or organization. So first you want to find something you're passionate about. And ideally, this is something that is unique that no one else in your school has started a club for. Second, you want to convince the teacher to back and advise your club. This is important because in order for your club to be officiated, you want to have a teacher who can provide a room for you to meet during lunch, and also a teacher to sign off on any funding. So the third step is you want to recruit peers who are also interested. And that's important because you want to grow your club so you guys can actually do things, and you want to actually create this club because you're interested in something, not just for college apps. Because if you just create it just for college apps and you don't actually participate in the club, then you don't really have anything to write about on your college essays. And that's why I recommend grow your club, do significant and interesting things, and just have fun with it, because I feel like if you really enjoy the thing you're doing and you can spread that enjoyment to other people, then you're going to be really, really fulfilled in high school. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions for me, feel free to contact me on Instagram. And I'll be trying to put out a video every week on Sunday. So I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.